All right, welcome in, everyone. Looks like we're going to be joining you live here. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona. It looks like you guys are from all over the place. We've got Natalie from Deerfield. I can see her comments. Off to the right, you'll see a little chat window. If you're on mobile, just scroll down below, and you can see, put in where you're tuning in from. Love to see all the different communities across the country tuning in to see some really exciting things we're going to share with you today as part of the Multifamily Innovation Showcase. So, Wendy, good to see you. Washington, D.C., and we got different weather temperatures all over the place. We got Colorado, Molly from, Conway? Yeah, Arkansas, Fayetteville. We've got sunny California, Lorena. Message Lorena, she's awesome. She's part of our team here in Multifamily Leadership. Chicago, Little Rock, Madison, Iowa City, Las Vegas. Good to see everybody. Listen, this is not a presentation. This is a multifamily innovation showcase. Now, a lot of you joined, and will even watch this on demand, but I'm chairman of the Multifamily Innovation Advisory Council, and every week we meet with owners and operators around the current challenges that they face inside the business and also the priorities in order to solve those challenges. And what we keep hearing over and over again is like, we want to rent faster and we want to reduce expenses. Now, from asset managers being live today with us today, also if you're leasing apartments and you're trying to figure out how all of this change happens in our industry and how that's going to play out for you, this is a great way to stay engaged, ask questions, and come along this journey, because I'm bringing in an expert that can take us through, what are the things that we can do with technology that's going to get us to where we need to get our business for the sake of making our business process better. Not just buying a new thing or adopting a new tech, but literally getting to the business outcomes that you need and maybe opening your mind to a new way to doing that. So really excited for that. Couple of quick announcements. We have the Multifamily Innovation Summit coming up in December. Really exciting things happening around that. For this episode here, this is the Innovation Showcase. So we're focused on just one topic here today around how to rent faster and reduce expenses. Now, listen, we're going to cover a lot of different things. And, at the end of this discussion here with our guest expert, you'll have an opportunity to reach out to him personally and ask follow-up questions, because you may walk into your next meeting and have a different question as a result of what you discover here today. But listen, stay engaged. There's a lot of different things going on in the industry. We want to sort of cut through the noise and really position you to have success, not just thinking about how AI changes our business, but how you can leverage it for better outcomes to rent faster and reduce those expenses. So with that, I want to introduce our guest today. It's Brock McLean. He's Executive Vice President and Chief Revenue Officer for Lease, and he's going to be talking to us a lot about what are the things that they're doing at scale to help multifamily companies just like you get to that outcome. Brock, welcome in.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
Great to be here.
So great shot, by the way.
Yeah.
I know that that's not Photoshop. What is that?
What's interesting is this one is me. Let's see if we can't even get a little bit of movement on here. We can't get it to change over for us here.
Oh, okay. Are we hot on no?
Let me see.
All right, we need to be hot on the PowerPoint? No? Are you hitting the right? Let me check this here real quick. Touch this. All right, let's give that a go. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, let's try. Let's go back.
No?
Let's see. There we go.
All right, okay.
There we got it.
That's on me.
No worries. Well, what's interesting, for starters,
Yeah.
if you could make me look a little more like that guy
Yeah,
on a
that's
regular
good.
basis, that would be
Timeless.
good. I wish that were the case.
Well, that's what AI does. It makes us better.
Yeah, well, that's really the idea of the conversation today, right? AI is everywhere. I mean, there's not really a message that any of you get on any given day that doesn't contain the word AI in some form or another.
Right.
And it's creating a lot of your interest, for sure, a lot of opportunity, right, to improve our business in many ways.
Yeah.
And I think today, I really just wanted to focus for the group on what are some of the areas that are more traditional in our space that with technology, with advancements in AI, with the intent to lease faster, to save some expenses, to create efficiency in your model, how can we do that in a way that's going to make some sense and add accretive value to a portfolio is kind of the idea. So that was really the idea of today from a discussion standpoint, and what I thought we could focus on.
Yeah, and I know you've got a lot to share with us, so we'll go through that. If something sparks your interest, drop us a comment, and we'll get right to that live. If not, have an opportunity to follow up with you.
I think probably a great area to really focus on, again, in the time we have today, you can apply AI to so many things, but what are the areas that are traditional in our business that tend to be more people intensive, that cause some of the challenges for our operators today to be more effective? And some of the traditional contact centers, I think, are one of those key areas. With the idea of leasing faster, being more effective, more efficient, saving some money, this is an area where technology can have a tremendous impact on what's happening in the overall leasing velocity of a portfolio. In the traditional call center model, part of the challenge, one of the key areas of challenge are how staffing intensive they are and the constant requirement for training, right? Even in it really started with our shared COVID experience.
Right.
Coming out of that, staffing is a big topic. Challenges of staffing, both at the site level. Well, those same challenges exist in a traditional contact center model. So can technology help with those things?
They may even be harder because the atmosphere, they're in a cubicle in many cases, right? They're not looking over a pool.
For sure, right. Yeah, they may not have that kind of, really that customization or that, I guess, awareness of what's happening at a given property and the nuances that make that property really special are some of the things. I think the other thing, that can create inconsistent responses. If the person's not well versed in the community, maybe they're new, maybe there's a substitute for that day, that prospect's not getting always the most consistent responses about that community. So that can certainly be a challenge that can be addressed with technology. Limited prospect engagement. I know that we see in our business not only the amount of people who are dialing the phone looking for the next apartment, but maybe they want to text. Maybe they don't want to be on hold in a call center. Maybe they want information more immediate as they're doing their self-discovery and moving themselves down that conversion funnel that is so critical to leasing velocity for our customers today. So that's certainly an area. And cost prohibitive. Market's tightening. Budgets are tighter.
Right.
Everyone, we talked to a lot of clients who are in the midst of finishing their budgets for 2024, and invariably they're a little more lean than they have been historically. So
so you're heading to OpTech.
Yep.
And you'll be there, right? Your whole team will be there probably.
Yep.
And you're at what booth is it? I think it was
218.
218. So if you're heading to OpTech, write this down. Booth 218. You can come and see Brock talk and demonstrate, even for.
Yeah, we'll have live demos.
You'll have more time to spend with him there. But this is a good first look at some of the things you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you think of some of the challenges you see in some of the traditional models, how in this particular scenario, how can we take AI and the promise of that functionality, add it to this more traditional approach to leasing, and be that much more effective at a much more cost-effective level. So let's take a look at that. Let's look at what AI could do for you in the same scenario, right? You want to lease faster. You want to be more economical. You want to give prospects a range of options and how they communicate. And this is where technology can be deployed against a traditional model and really allow for that. So if you think of it, right? Centralization, big topic. I'm sure in your advisory council meetings, everyone's thinking, how can we do more with less?
Right.
Technology is really the way to do that, because you can create customized scenarios by community that are unique for that community. And with one person, you can service a much broader portfolio than you may have to do if you're deploying leasing staff across a more
so does it not require a whole organizational shift it's a little bit like a great early step in moving towards that direction too.
It's also, to that point, it's really interesting, having been in this industry a long time, as I say, I look much older than the AI version of me. Every other scenario in our kind of our history in the industry requires a couple things, right? There's change management. You're unplugging something, you're plugging something else in. Requires training of a on-premise staff or a wider operational group. Requires all of those sort of things that cause apprehension, right? How's it going to work? Are we going to get the training done? Is it going to be as effective as we want it to be? This is the first technology I think that's come along that's incredibly accretive to the leasing strategy and the engagement with prospects and residents for that matter, but can be done in a way that's completely complementary to your operation that's in place today. It can operate in the background, but ensure that all your prospects are getting the kind of attention they want, when they want it, how they want it, and in the way they want to communicate. So it's really an extension of your leasing staff versus something that is something that you have to replace something with.
Yeah, and for those that are not ready to go full all tech, like how does it help the leasing agent today?
So I think first and foremost, if you think of the prospect engagement, we normally might think of, say, a call center, whether it be a people-based one or even AI, handling those prospects that are looking maybe in the morning before work or after hours when they're home. The reality of the bulk of communications, whether it be on the phone, text, chat, all of those things, the bulk of the traffic happens between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. You might say, well, why is that? Well, that's when the people that are on site are the busiest. They have residents coming in. There's questions. There's people coming in for tours.
Right.
It's the busiest time. But that's also when people are on their lunch break. So they're dialing the phone. They're sending in text. They're chatting, right? So if I'm a leasing agent, I'm really excited that I've got that backstop to ensure that every prospect is being met when, where, and how they want. They're able to do their entire self-discovery. And as we'll see in a couple other slides here from a results standpoint, the intent to transact for somebody that engages with AI is substantially higher than somebody that maybe calls, answers a few questions, and then drives in.
They're coming in more informed and
more informed.
Ready buyers?
Ready buyers,
Leasing agents like
done their own pre-qualification. Yeah, so if I'm a leasing agent, not only do I have the support of an AI platform to be sure those prospects are being handled, but when they do come in and they've engaged with AI, I know their intent to transact is very high, and I'm going to be pretty excited about those leads that are in my CRM and planning to come in.
Yeah, you're in a lot of these conversations because people are exploring these things, and there's a lot of media around technology, how it's going to shift work process, all those things. But the way you're describing it and the way that we know this to really play out, even outside the industry, is this technology does many things that make the business better. So for example, as you're telling me that, I'm like, wow, that, the retention of the employee too. I mean, not doing redundant things, maybe, not needing to do work that's repetitive and things like that, or minimizing it at some degree, right? There's some other great benefits that go beyond just leasing faster and also reducing the financial expense. There's the experience piece.
Yep.
As well. As you play that out, I'm thinking like, we're hearing the challenges and it's like, how do we keep people excited to work here? Yep. Give them the tools, support them to help them get to the lease faster and convert.
Totally.
Convert better.
People are our greatest asset, and we want to deploy the people towards the highest value tasks, right? Whether that's quality resident retention, engagement with that prospect is coming in for a tour. But for the more repetitive tasks where the people want to know, do you have any available units? When can I tour? Do you accept pets, right? Those things can be answered consistently 24/7 with AI. So your people are there to handle those real high value tasks that are making that community hum and driving value for your asset. And AI can be there to supplement that effort to ensure that every prospect's able to accomplish what they're looking to do at the time and place and in the way they want to.
Different owners have different objectives, right? So some may be approaching a smaller company, and you have large operators using this. Tell me what they're telling you about.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the idea that there's something here for all constituents within an organization, right? Whether it's looking to effectively manage expenses, to lease faster, to extend the reach of your marketing, to make your marketing more effective by, not only just spending, the marketing budgets are substantial in our space and they're generating significant amounts of leads, but really what you really want is the leads that are going to convert and be sure that you've got those in place. So we've got some interesting data with, I think, one of the largest REITs in the country. So UDR, one of the largest publicly traded REITs in the country, 165 sites. What's interesting is, and there was a period of evolution, right, in the testing and proving and kind of looking at the data to be sure there was the right model. But eventually, UDR and 165 sites made the transition from a people-based contact center to an AI platform. And a couple of interesting things. At a high level, certainly the value of engaging with those prospects across the channels and making sure none are missed. I mean, that's certainly core to what they do. A substantial amount of leads originate on the phone and they knew that from their call center experience. So to be able to have an AI platform that could handle voice and scale at a very high level and convert those prospects was critically important, as well as creating other options for a prospect who may not want to talk to either a person or even an AI platform, but would rather text or chat, right? So a lot of flexibility in there. But a couple of the data points I think that were really interesting that are adjacent value drivers that to the operator are going to make a lot of sense. So one, for example, was the percentage increase of conversion from initial contact to application with a prospect that used AI was 13% higher. That equates to just about a half a day, right, in terms of first contact application. So you might say, well, what does that really mean? Well, across a portfolio of 165 sites,
right,
if AI allows you to gain a half a day of vacancy loss, that math is pretty substantial, and that's just immediate yield and value to an asset.
Right, now you're talking to the asset manager.
Now you're talking to the asset manager.
1 and 2 a week is 52 a year.
Yeah, it's enormous.
I mean, that's substantial right
Huge.
there.
So an adjacent value, right? In addition to all the core things. I mean, I think another one. Now let's speak for a moment to the leasing teams that are watching us right now, or even the marketers who are trying to effectively manage their marketing budget. The application approval rate for those that engage with AI, UDR found was 23% higher than those without. And you might say, well, why is that? Well, the answer is that through AI, again, 24/7 across the channel that you want, you can do all of your self-discovery. You know that you love the community. The pool's beautiful. It's got a gym. They'll accept my pet. I meet the rental requirements from an income perspective. All the amenities suit what I'm looking for. They've got a unit that's available in the time frame that I would like it to move in. So by the time I complete that experience in AI and I book my tour, I'm showing up pretty confident that not only is this the home for me, but that I'm going to qualify. Now, if I'm the leasing team that's watching today or the marketer, I'm excited about that because from an efficiency standpoint, I'm now not managing all these prospects who may not be qualified, who aren't sure, or maybe they're looking at other units, right? But the prospects that is engaged with AI that's coming in to see me, likely they're going to be sitting across the desk signing their lease because they already know this is the home they want to be in. So the efficiency for them is really critical.
With all this data, I mean, you've got the emotional buyer and you have the logical buyer. Like emotionally, it's like, I'm going to create an experience. I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to bring this into my organization. We're going to go from here to here. Logically, the data and the facts are there, and it's been tested at scale. So, like, what's the are these things hard to evaluate, hard to deploy? Like, why wouldn't everybody be on this path? I
think, back to where we started, where AI is a massive conversation, I think we've crossed the chasm. Initially, I would say post-COVID, there was that, wow, the escalation of need for AI kind of was there, but people are apprehensive because, it's the unknown. It's like anything, right?
Sure.
Change in process or, can be intimidating, and you want to make the right decisions along the way. So I think there were a lot of early adopters. I think there was a group that was hey, let's see how that goes. And then they kind of started to come in. And now those that haven't made that decision are now looking, going, we need to do something in this category. Yeah. And now it's deciding what that is, right? I think what's interesting about this particular topic today, and as it relates to contact centers, is contact centers are a massive part of the industry today. And I think there's a lot of customers maybe watching today that either use a contact center or have considered one, but maybe it wasn't something in their budget. So the idea now is to really consider how AI can augment your leasing strategy, either as a complement to your contact center, as something that can potentially replace it, or can be the way you enter the contact center opportunity in a tech-driven way.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening now is we've got a market that's ready to do that, and the evaluations are happening. And I think the idea is to really take AI from, hey, we're a prospect engagement tool, to really highlighting the impact it can have for all constituents in an organization.
Yeah, and before it was nice to have, now it's a must-have. The pressures upon organizations from capital to insurance to all the things just to get to their yield has never been a higher priority. And as technology evolves quickly, and you mentioned there is a lot of noise and there is a lot of conversation around this and that. There's Me Too products that that maybe can do similar things. What's the value in like a LeaseHawk, knowing like in terms of AI? You guys have been an AI brand long before the conversation. You know, back before we even seeing AI in our text browser.
Yeah, right.
So how does that play out in being strength, knowing that you can go anywhere in any PMS, and this sort of onboarding process after the sale is not like an unfamiliar category or process for you guys? Like tell us why that's important.
So there's no question we've got a lot of years of experience in this category. I think the paths to successful AI platforms have come in different ways. Some are coming at it from a chat experience or something that's a little more easy to deploy. We came at it from the voice side of things, which is incredibly difficult, especially at scale. Hence why we've had the success of being an alternative, if you will, to a traditional contact center, knowing that a lot of those calls originate. A lot of the leading ILS platforms in the country know that 50% of their leads originate on the phone as well. So if you're not handling those calls or receiving those calls, that's a prospect who's likely going to find another alternative. So I think having that as a foundational point to our AI, and then expanding into text, into chat, all those categories, I think is critical. A prospect doesn't want to go back and forth on email. They're looking for answers now. They're looking to go through the self-discovery process. They're looking to make a decision. So having that available for them is key. The other part that is sort of underlying the technology, right, is the integration. So having the years of experience, the integrations in place to be able to facilitate a client regardless of their tech stack or give them options within their tech stack, I think is critically important as well. And so we've got a lot of depth of experience there. But I think most importantly, to be able to scale across all of the ways in which prospects want to communicate today and extend the reach of your AI, not only to your website, but to your digital marketing platforms. I think the flexibility to, if I'm a marketer today, I want a prospect to have all the opportunities to evaluate and discover my community in the way that works for them. Not everybody's going to dial the phone. Some just want to text. Some might want to chat. Some might want to, be on their couch at 10 at night. But I think from a marketing perspective, having all those options available and the flexibility there is key.
You mentioned options, and we talk about, many have gotten to a point in their career where they're familiar with how work was done historically, and we have an emotional attachment to creating a hospitality experience, and there's the conversation around a personal experience. And it's interesting because as we're seeing technology evolve and then also tracking what the customer wants, right, is that it's not just only personal experience, it's the personalized. And you can do personalized with technology. That's what's interesting because you're kind of meeting them. You mentioned, is it voice or chat or text or, just search, whatever that may be.
It's a great point because when you think about the personalized experience, again, back to if I'm a marketer, personalized comes in many flavors, right? And there are those prospects who are going to want that white glove and that very personal experience, and I think having that is critically important. For a community that has that, also having the personalized and highly customizable AI platform that can be the voice of your brand, have a look and feel of your brand, can be very integrated into your overall marketing strategy, I think is also very personalized, right? So customized to your specific community. So you're right, for that prospect that wants a white glove, have that available. But for the other that wants still that personalized connection to that brand, but in their own way, going through their self-discovery process, I think is equally as important and speaks volumes to the way a marketer or a portfolio is thinking about the people who are going to live in those apartments.
Yeah, and to me, I think about it differently in so many ways around like it's unlocking human potential. Like the amount of time that we have to do just to focus, check an email, look at this, return like all these things that we do that require our energy.
Yes.
Like that energy can be put to other creative, innovative things inside the business that help with conversions and things like that. But these numbers are incredible. Let me move aside here.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think the one more for the owners and operators here is this one. In the same case study, upon all of the data mining that the UDR team did across prospect engagement and all the things around time to market or time to conversion from prospects, application rate approvals. This one, reducing your operating expenses by 65% and also ensuring that prospects are communicating the way they want to 24/7. was substantial. And I mean, I think that to me is one of the driving forces, because this is purely accretive to the overall yield of the portfolio, while still meeting the prospect engagement goals, while still meeting your marketing initiatives, while taking those marketing leads that you're generating and converting them at a higher rate. I mean, there's a little something in here for everyone that's watching today, or everyone that's thinking about the impact this can have on their portfolio.
Yeah, this is battle tested in that aspect. Why? So, and sometimes people need to see someone else move first to feel safe about that. What are you seeing them lean into inside these conversations? I mean, obviously the expense part, but how are you moving? How are you getting people comfortable taking the first step? Like, is the first step just getting on the phone with you?
The first step, I think, is getting on the phone, also understanding that this technology is incredibly advanced and getting better all the time, right? There's machine learning models all the time that is making this better. Technology is getting better. The voices that we're communicating with are incredibly human-like. So I think what's happening is, even from 2 years ago, we're even better than that. So we're several versions into our platform now, and the advancements continue at a very escalated rate. So I think there's always going to be advancements, but I think once you sort of jump in and deploy this kind of strategy, not just the technology, but the strategy behind it, you're now created a foundation to really build upon all the evolution that continues to find in this market. And I think the impacts of those things are really, really substantial, right? And they're adjacent to the technology. If you think about lowering labor costs, for example. In other words, you might be able to have fewer leasing staff, or the centralization model. You might be able to manage a wider array of communities and prospect engagement with fewer. So a savings there. Consistent performance. I mean, same answers repeatedly all the time. Consistent. Put your people against higher value tasks. Use AI to handle all those repetitive questions that come in. Super critical, and I think value driving there. Respond instantly. No hold times in a contact center. I mean, the person wants answers, they get them now. If they want to text, they get them now. All those things, I think, from a prospect standpoint, are positives when they're evaluating your brand or your community, having those there. The ability to reduce office hours. Not everyone likes to work on Sunday, for example.
Right.
You can actually handle AI, or use AI to handle prospect inquiries, self-guided tours. All those things can be done without staffing. And I think that's critical. For the staff, though, however, if I'm the leasing agent and I've got this platform deployed across our digital marketing, back to the kind of conversion rates, I'm excited about people that engage with AI, because I know their intent to transact is very high. Yeah. And so the efficiency for me is going to be really pretty key, right? And then if you have a call center, supplement it in some ways with AI, or give yourself options, or explore those possibilities the same way UDR did. It wasn't an overnight thing. It took some time. And I think if I'm watching today and I'm considering this, I think no better time to consider how tech can help all aspects. Lease faster, reduce expenses, maximize my marketing budget. Show me what ad sources are really converting at a high rate, fine-tune that effort as well. So I think there's really benefits across an entire organization, not just that you're going to capture a prospect 24/7, but the impact it has all over the place.
Yeah, and the readiness for an organization, literally anybody?
Anybody. Yeah. I mean, there may be some nuance to integrations depending on what somebody's tech stack looks like, but I would say, holistically, I mean, there's a deployment, across probably 90% of the technology that exists in the market today. We have customers across all the large tech stacks, integrations with those, the CRMs, the revenue management, pricing, availability engines. All of those things are in place today, and completely customizable too. So it's not, today we've sort of highlighted, I guess, a little bit of what our brand looks like and is, but most of our customers, you wouldn't know that it's us that's powering that technology, because it's completely customizable by community, by the way, not just portfolio. So nuanced and customizable by community within a portfolio itself.
Yeah. So, and that's a differentiator, of course. Tell me, like, after the sale, what happens? How long does this take to get into an organization? Yep. What does that look like?
It can happen probably as quickly as an organization wants. For the most part, we're also going to take on the heavy lift of implementation. And by that, I mean, we're going to go out and derive all of the critical information by community that make that community special, and populate the 140 40 plus or more leasing questions that we're able to handle with our AI today. So we're going to do the bulk of that lift, at least probably 80% of it. The validation of all the information we'll actually have our customer do to be sure it's there. They'll help us out with their tech stack and where they would like integration for, whether it be guest cards or transcripts of chats or recordings of voice calls, all of those things. We will complete those integrations, testing, pricing, availability, connection to calendars for tour scheduling and all those options. So we try to make it as seamless as possible, but certainly something that is collaborative with our customer.
Yeah, you mentioned the data on the 65% savings. I mean, the asset managers are high-fiving you, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Tell me about the leasing agents. You're spending time with them after they've been on board. Like, how's life better for them?
I'm sure the initial, and it's a natural thing, right? You hear AI or machine learning,
right.
and the natural reaction for all of us, not just in multifamily, but just in the world today, are thinking, are the machines going to take over, right? Do I fear for my role, for example? And I think that's a natural concern. I think for the companies and the leasing staff that have leaned into this, they realize that, oh wow, what I'm really now doing is I'm managing the more higher value tasks, engagement with residents, prospects that are coming in for tours, and this AI is really performing a lot of those functions that I either couldn't get to, like in the middle of the day when it's my busiest time of the day, or the follow-up that may be required to have that person commit to a tour. But I've got that backstop and that support of AI that's engaging with that prospect so that when they come in, their intent to transact, as we shared in that one slide, 23% higher. And if I'm a leasing agent whose value and probably even compensation is tied to leasing,
sure,
I'm going to be really excited that my company has decided to deploy this kind of technology to really, I think, enhance and be accretive to my overall job.
Right. Is there anything we're not covering that we need to cover? I want to make sure if you have questions, ask them. If not, how can people get in touch with you too?
Yeah, love to. Sure. I mean,
let me get out.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
So leave that up there for a minute so people can take a picture of that. But
leasehawk.com has a ton of information. If you're going to be at OpTech next week, love to see you at booth 218. By all means, can email me, brock@leasehawk.com. Brock McLean on LinkedIn. However, you can find me. Again, 24/7, just like our AI platform. happy to help. But and this is just like an area we focused on, which is sort of how technology can augment and enhance what is traditionally a function that has that probably doesn't have the efficiency that it otherwise could. But I think within an organization, I think there's just a lot of areas with which to customize and take advantage, again, on a buy property basis that are really exciting. And don't be intimidated by it. It's an exciting time. I think the time is right as well. And I think now, where it was in concept, say 2 years ago, is something that we should all consider. We now have the kind of the data points like we shared today that I think really highlight why this makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Listen, again, he's going to be at OpTech. If you're going there and you're not registered, get registered. Go see him at OpTech. You can meet him in person. Brock's been around building businesses in multifamily for some really top brands, and I love what you're doing. And you always want to do thought leadership and really help the customers along the way, because at the end of the day, the products are sort of the hero in the solution, but at the end of the day, we're dealing with people here. And we know that right now can be a confusing time, an uncertain time. And so our goal with something like this is to kind of cut through the noise, give you an opportunity to learn outside of a sales conversation, so then you can say, you know what, I'm going to raise my hand and call Brock and get on a call, because I do have some questions that I may not want to answer or ask here, but being on a call may be specific to your portfolio, specific to your role, and maybe the vision that you have for an organization. One thing that, as we wrap up here, I thought of is acquisition. So as we're going into sort of turnaround mode in some of these operations, they are looking like, how can we get there, without all the other stuff? And so are investors looking at this as an acquisition strategy too, to think about remodeling the way that they even structure an investment on the sort of either new development or perhaps on a new acquisition?
Absolutely, and I would say between the traditional kind of market rate part of the business is sort of create a value here, but I think we see it two key areas. Lease ups, for example, where you may not be staffed yet at all, right? Or you may be still coming out of the ground, right? But you've still got a massive prospect interest base coming along. You can still handle those prospects, create interest lists, benefit from all that you're generating from a marketing and branding standpoint without having to deploy people to do that. So I think that's critical. And then I think, from an acquisition standpoint, or from whether you're an owner looking to acquire and you want to bring in a more effective model to kind of drive yield in when we've got some, we've over the past handful of years had some elevated pricing for communities, right? I think is another area. And then I think for those out there that are managers that are fee managing for operators, being able to come with a lot of interesting new ways with which to maximize budgets, to maximize budgeting, to maximize staff, to drive efficiency in the leasing process, kind of where you started. Lease faster, do it for less, but have still the prospect experience that today's consumer expects.
Yeah, that's a good point. What I miss? Anything else?
I think we got it.
All right. Well, awesome. Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always fun to hang out with you. Listen, if you want to get involved, if you're an owner and operator in multifamily, and you want to get involved in the Multifamily Innovation Council, I would suggest going to multifamilyinnovation.com, click on Council. There's an application, complete the application. Someone from our team will be in touch, and you can get access to inside conversations, peer-to-peer, where owners and operators are looking through the business, through their current realities and where they want to take their business forward. You see, long ago, we only needed to understand financial markets and cap rates and debt service and the financial aspects, the transactional aspects of the business. But now we need to understand technology as leaders more than ever. It's similar to how a CFO needs to understand finance. You as a leader can walk into any organization, spending time with a guy like Brock and learning technology, his access to developers from around the world and people that have done big things in multifamily, give you an opportunity to make an impact in your organization. So I encourage you, if you can get in front of these innovative partners, it's an opportunity to make your business better, but also make yourself better, so then you can drive returns for your role in your organization or you as an investor. But that's at multifamilyinnovation.com. This is just one thing that we do for our council. All of our council members will see this. Plus, I think we're out on LinkedIn and Facebook and all over the place, and some people will probably tag you later, and you'll be getting messages for a while. But listen, I appreciate you joining us today. It's been exciting, and then we'll see you. Don't forget to go see Brock at OpTech. He's at booth 218. He's a fun guy. He's got his whole team there. So we'll see you guys in the next show. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool.